There were three things I used to like about elementary school.
All right.
Three subjects, Brother Bruce. One was lunch. One was summer vacation. And the other thing was recess. I loved recess because during the recess time, we got a chance to throw the football around. During recess time, we got a chance to play soccer. If you ever had time in recess, what you used to do when they used to let us out for recess is we used to pick teams. And we had a person that was a captain and he used to select people for his team. And since I was one of the best athletes in elementary school, they used to pick me, and everybody on the team would say, "I'm glad you're on our side." And as we look at this time of transition, St. John, one thing we'll have to realize is that even though we're in times of transition, one thing we need to realize and recognize is a reality that even though we're going through times of transition, even though we've been around for 147 years, the reality is since our time of first inception, God has been on our side. As we look at this text, this is a song of ascent. Some people call it the song of degrees. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, what would happen is they were making their journey to Jerusalem. They were leaving from the little towns and the little villages in which they lived, and they were on their way to Jerusalem to participate in worship. And they know that when they got to Jerusalem, they were going to worship. But the reality is that they're worshiping on their way to worship. Can I talk to somebody today? That you don't need to wait till you get to worship. You ought to be worshiping on your journey to church. Even though it's cold outside, you ought to be worshiping. Worshiping on your way to worship. Maybe that'll help you start arguing with your husband and wife. If you're worshiping on your way to worship, maybe you won't be getting all mad at your children on your way to worship. Watch this. They're worshiping on their way to worship. They have joy on their journey. This is a song of ascent. They're on their way to Jerusalem to worship. They're on their way to Jerusalem to participate in one of the festivals, whether it be a Passover, whether it's a Feast of Booths, whatever it is, they're on your way to worship. Now, we know about Psalms of Ascent. No, some of our favorite verses come from the Psalms of Ascent, come from the Psalms of degrees. You know the Psalm of degrees, don't you? Psalm 120 to Psalm 134. They're songs on the way to worship. We know some of these songs. One says, "I will look to the hill." I wish I had somebody read it beside me. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord. The Lord that made heaven. It's a song of ascent. We were familiar with songs of ascent. One song says, "I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord." I'm talking to somebody today. There's some folk mad when they come to church. But the psalmist says, "I'm glad when they said unto me." You're like a child. I always used to get sad when they said, "Let us go to the house of the Lord." But this text said, a psalm of ascent said, "I was glad when they said unto me." Said, "They that trust in the Lord shall be as Mount Zion." That's a psalm of ascent. So watch this. Someone said, "Except the Lord build a house, they labor in vain that build it." These are songs of ascent. They're words of joy for our journey. Can I talk to St. John, the church that integrates faith with living, as we're on a journey to our own Jerusalem, and we're on a journey? I like these songs because they are pivotal songs. There are songs that have one side is a little sadness, but on the other side some thanksgiving. Because that's a transition we're in, a little sadness that Pastor Taylor is gone, but there's a little thanksgiving for the impact and the impression that he has made. It's a pivotal song. I like this because it's Psalms of Ascent. And as we look at our text, in the middle of the Psalms of Ascent, the psalmist says, you know what? When I look back over my life, when I look back on my way to Jerusalem, I got one immutable conclusion. He was on our side. Can I just go ahead and unpack this for a few minutes today? Because it's more than this text that meets the eye. Look what it says. This is a psalm not only of ascension, this is a psalm of reflection. Look what it says. He looks back as he's on his way to worship. See, so one thing you need to do in the midst of whatever you're going through.
Come on, preacher.
When you look back over your life, when you look back on everything that has been going on in your life, and you look back individually and collectively, you'll discover that he was on our side. It's a song of realization. If you look at the text, you'll discover that not only are there some problems with people, there's also some other problems. There's some other problems in here. There's a realization, if you will. The realization is that even in your life, you can admit that there's some people that came against you. Everybody that's on your side really ain't on your side. Everybody say they got your back really don't have your back. Everybody say that they down with you, brother Tucker, ain't down with you. Everybody's of your color ain't of your kind. And you decide those times that they came against you, trying to get you fired. Those ones that came against you, trying to get you to go through a divorce. Those that came against you, trying to get you to wave the white flag and throw in the towel. Those people came against you. The reality is, ladies and gentlemen, people will come against you. I don't care how many times they raise their hand talking about the Lord and will make a way. Those are the same folk. Come on, those same folk that'll come against you. Your girlfriend that wants you to be miserable like she is. The ones that hanging around you, those are the same ones. And in our text, this psalmist says, you know what? When people came against me, that's what you did, man. Realize that you're on my side. Because look, I don't know if he's remembering and reflecting on all the people that came against the nation of Israel. The Amalekites, the Jebusites, the Canaanites, all the ites, the termites, whatever ites there were that came against you. One thing I realized is that they're gone and I'm still here. When's the last time you heard from the Amalekites? When's the last time you see some Jebusites running around? When's the last time you see some Babylonians running around? They're gone and they're dead and gone, but I'm still here. You know why? Because he was on my side. And I know St. John has gone through things. Some people want St. John in the fold. Sometimes St. John wanted to go down and we had various things going on. But one thing we'll realize is that when people came against us,
come on now.
we realized, you know what?
Yes, sir.
He was on our side. And watch this. Even problems come against us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Problems making the budget.
Yes, sir. I got that.
Problems doing various things that you want to do. But you know what? You are here today.
All right.
Because he was on our side. See, what you need to do is you need to have a time of reflection. And because you know what? Because even bad things happen to you, but the realization is, even though it's bad,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
it could have been worse. Can I just be real with you? You complain about something happened with your car, you could not have a car. You complain about your hoop dance, at least you ain't walking. It gets you to point A to point B. Things get bad, but it could be worse. I used to laugh at the old deacon up top at Greater Mount Zion. they used to pray that same prayer. And we come knee bit, body down. Y'all know that. We like to thank the Lord for the activity of our lives. Thank you that the sheep that were my winding sheep. I used to make fun of that preacher when he used to do that deacon. But you know what I discovered? The older I get, when I wake up and I got the activity of my life, I know he's on my side. When I wake up and I ain't gone crazy, I woke up in my right mind. I know he's on my side. When I get up and I ain't with the coolest sheep without my wine and shit, and I know that I'm still alive on this side, I used to make fun of them. And the older you get, you realize you little habit, and when you wake up, when it's cold outside, your joints and stuff get stiff. When you get up in the morning, folks with all kind of mental illnesses, you wake up in the morning, realize that you're still in your right mind. Can I suggest something to you? If you wake up in your right mind, he was on your side. When you got activity of your limbs, you got to acknowledge that he's on my side. Watch this. He said, I gotta be honest, when I look back, I had the realization when people and problems came against me. See, what he does in the rest of the song is he gives a delineation or itemization of what God has done. And see, what you need to do is just don't think about, oh, he's on my side, but sometimes you gotta reflect and you gotta itemize. Y'all know what itemization is, don't you? Is that when you do some people find that the 1040 easy form. That's just a short form. But if you are in business or you have a lot of deduction, what you got to do, Brother Tucker, is you got to itemize. In other words, what you got to do is you got to list all the things that has happened. List all the things that you have expended. List all your bills and your write-offs and your deductions, because you can benefit more when you itemize. Come let me talk to somebody this morning. You know what? You need to stop talking to God in general terms. You know what you need to do? You need to start itemizing. You need to start realizing all the things that he did. When you look back and you know you couldn't pay that bill. You know they were getting ready to foreclose on you. And God came through. I know it was a lie. When the doctor gave you a bad report and turned his head and said nothing we can do about it, and you still here today, watch this, I know it was a lie. When you were in that wreck and you were able to walk away from it, and you look back and say, I don't know what happened. I don't know why it was the Lord. You don't know why you stayed in that marriage. But it seemed like it was doomed from the start. But the realization is, if you itemize, you can realize that he's on your side. It's a psalm of reflection. But watch this. Not only delineation, sometimes you need to itemize.
All right.
Brother Bower is also designation. Watch this. If it had not been, don't miss this,
All right.
for the Lord. That's in your Bible if you ain't tore it out of it. Look, it said, if it had not been for the Lord on our side. Can I talk to somebody that got it twisted? That thing is because of your education.
That's all right. That's all right.
Can I talk to somebody that got it twisted? Think it's because of the money you had in the bank?
All right.
Can I talk to somebody that got it twisted? It's because you think because you eat right. Nothing wrong with that. Can I talk to somebody that got it twisted? Think because you got a good job and it was a job that saved you. Can I talk to somebody that got it twisted? Think it's because of your connection and your hookup. Can I suggest something to you? God will put you in a place where family can't help you. God will put you in a place where finances can't bail you out. you have is not enough. God will put you in a place where everybody's around you, turn your back on you, and then what you conclude, if it had not been for the Lord.
All right.
On our side. Some people say, you know what? I know it was the Lord. As much dope as I smoke, and I'm still here, I know it was the Lord. When I was doing some stuff, I should be in jail, but I didn't get caught. I know it was the Lord. I walk around, I know that I have people that I've slept with and messed up with, and I ain't got a sexually transmitted disease. I know it was the Lord. God ain't gonna help me today. If it had not been for the Lord on our side. Hey, can I suggest something to you, St. John?
Go ahead.
When you had the bucket story, where God worked that thing through, there was a Lord. Those times when we had more month than we had money, and God somehow, some way came through. I know it was the Lord.
All right now.
He said, now don't get it twisted in your own life. Don't think that you all that in the bag of chips. You better give credit where credit is due. It was the Lord that made a way. It was the Lord that started you on your way. It was the Lord that gave you the job you had. You wasn't qualified. More folk got more degrees than a thermometer, and they didn't get the job. God is the one that brought you through. God is the one that what you know, He taught you. What you have, He gave you. What you are, He made you. If it had not been for the Lord, I know this is a simple message, but you know what? Not only is it a song of ascension, they're going up to Jerusalem. He gives you joy for your journey. He gives you a message for your movement. He gives you victory in every verse. But you know what? He does what Vanessa does in this text. Watch this. When Janexa singing, He's able, he said, you say it. If y'all was paying attention. Y'all see Vanessa, that's why she got happy. He said, He's able, you say. Y'all remember that? And you know what happens in this text, Brother Boaz, Brother Collier? He does what Vanessa does. When she says He able. Watch this. If it had not been for the Lord on our side, watch it. Let Israel say. In other words, what he's doing as he's going on to worship, he said, if it had not been for the Lord, and he points to the nation of Israel, now you say it. See, sometimes you need to participate in reflection. Somebody need to remind you sometimes that if it had not been for the Lord, God wants you to participate in this. It's a turn to your neighbor moment.
All right.
So he said, when he got happy and he's on his way to work, he said, you know what? Like Sean Taylor said, it sounds so good, I don't want to say it by myself. Let Israel say it. Can I go ahead and end this? Because not only is it a psalm of ascension that goes up to Jerusalem,
All right.
not only is it a psalm of reflection, they looking back over the life in these, from verse 4 to verse 6. Talk about all the things God has done.
All right.
He doesn't give specifics.
Yes.
But there's some times in your own life
All right.
when the only thing you can conclude is that there was a Lord.
Amen.
It's a psalm of reflection, but also it's a psalm of anticipation.
Come on.
In other words, he's just not writing this for the past.
Come on.
He's writing this also for the future.
Yes, sir.
He's saying,
All right.
is that because God was on our side in the past,
Yeah.
He'll be on our side. And even though we're in times of transition, I came to tell you, just as he was on our side in the past, he'll be on our side in the future. Can I go ahead and sum it, if you will? Pastor Taylor, you know what he was saying? He said, what God has done in the past. I wish somebody heard that. What God has done in the past is a model and a promise of what he will do in the future. So he's too creative to do the same thing twice. Every round goes higher and higher. Every round goes higher and higher. So you know what? If you're wondering how you're going to make it in 2022, if you wonder who's really on your side, your friends may leave you, your family may turn their back on you, your people that you grew up with may turn their back on you. But can I tell you who's going to be on your side? The Lord. You know what? You ain't got to worry. You ain't got to fret. Because he has a good track record. What he's done for me in my past settles me down when I get worried about the future. Because the Lord tells me, you know what? I was on your side then, and I'll be on your side now. And can I suggest something to you? Not only is a time of anticipation, knowing that you can go in 2022, 3 as long as the Lord gives you. You don't think you realize he's on your side. I got to close. Can I tell you this how I close? Because not only is this a song of ascension, he gives us joy for our journey. He gives us some victory in every verse. He gives us a message for this moment and this movement. And he tells not only is a song of ascension, it's a song of reflection. When you look back on everything he's brought you through, there will be some mile markers that remind you that he was on your side. When you thought that he had switched sides, and you thought that he was a free agent, and he signed with another team, but he said, no, I'll bring you through this like I brought you through the last time. And it's a model and a promise of what he's going to do. It's a song of anticipation. But you know what? As I close, it's also a song of appreciation. It's a Thanksgiving song. And can I tell you, if God has done something for you that you couldn't do for yourself, you ought to tell the Lord. If God made a way out of nowhere, you ought to have some appreciation. If God healed you and delivered you, you ought to say thank you. If God kept you in your right mind, you ought to say thank you. If God has given you the activity of your life, you may not get around as fast as you used to, but you ought to say thank you. If God has put food on the table, you ought to say thank you. If God put the clothes on your back, may not be Gucci or Prada, but you got clothes, you ought to say thank you. If God has given you a hoopty that's running on gas, people, you ought to say thank you. If God has given you a round of friends that got your back, you ought to say thank you. If God has healed you when you couldn't heal yourself, if God has brought you through when you didn't think you were going to make it, if God has kept you in your right mind, you ought to say thank you. And I imagine as they got up to Jerusalem, got up to the temple, I believe they shouted. Because when I look back over my life, he was on my side. I came to tell St. John, I came to tell you individually and collectively, no matter how bad things get, he's on your side. Don't say I'm Even though it don't seem like it. He was on my side.
Yes.
Can I encourage somebody today that you're wondering what's going to happen in the future in your own individual life? I can tell you to do this, what Corey Ten Boom said. Don't be afraid to trust an unknown future to a known God. I tried it and I know it. Now can be afraid.
Yes, sir.
Now listen.